Today we're going to barrel age a cocktail, the barrel-aged Southland. For this recipe, you're going to need a large measuring cup, a graduated double jigger, a bar spoon, a funnel, a fine mesh strainer, a bottle, a pitcher, and most importantly, a small oak barrel. The ingredients are rye, mezcal, Benedictine, and Chicory Vanilla bitters, or optionally, Peychaud bitters. Spirit-forward cocktails lend themselves to being barrel-aged, and the Southland falls into that category. It was actually designed to be spirit-forward, because it was originally meant to work as LA's answer to the Manhattan. At least that was the idea behind the contest held by Greenbar Distillery in 2014. They wanted a drink to capture LA in a glass, and this is what I came up with. It wasn't until later that I read the fine print and realized that I didn't meet the requirements of the contest. But I still really liked the drink, and eventually made a video about it. Then a little over a year later, I saw a drink called the El Camino on a menu that had nearly identical ingredients. The only difference was the El Camino used Peychaud bitters instead of vanilla bitters, and garnished it with an orange twist. As it turns out, the measurements were the exact same. The El Camino was created by LA area bartender Raul Rastorza around 2010 on a trip down to Oaxaca with Del Maguey founder Ron Cooper. Raul was playing around with different liqueurs, but eventually landed on Benedictine. He based the drink on the Monte Carlo. He cut the rye in half and added mezcal. So he named his drink after another Chevy, one with a Latin twist, the El Camino. When I spoke with him about it, Raul pointed out that Phil Ward also had a similar drink called the Good Cork, where he used Irish whiskey instead of rye, but everything else was the same proportions. Either way, as with all barrel-aged cocktails, the barrel mellows the flavors and imparts some of its characteristics. The drink has more honey notes from the Benedictine, the smoke softens a touch, and it takes on a hint of oak. So it's never a good idea to compare a barrel-aged cocktail to a fresh cocktail and expect them to be the same thing. It's better to think of them as separate drinks, because the flavors take on such a different dimension. If you can't get a hold of Drunken Crane's Chicory Vanilla bitters, you can just use another vanilla bitters, like the ones from Greenbar, the holders of the contest that prompted the Southland. If you can't find any vanilla bitters, just make it with Peychauds, which would make it an El Camino. I guess making it with these esoteric bitters makes it different. Is it different enough to call it a different drink? Make them back to back and you tell me. Building a cocktail for barrel aging is about being able to scale it. Since the liquid is what causes the wood to expand, which creates the seal, you'll need to keep the barrel full. This recipe is for a 1 liter barrel. You'll have to scale it up for a 2 liter or 3 liter or an even bigger barrel. And if you have a bigger barrel, you'll most likely need to age it a little longer as well. Assuming it's a new barrel, the first step will be to cure it. Do this by filling it with warm water and dumping it out again. It may leak from the head or the butt. In that case, you'll need to cure it again and again until it's ready to go. The idea is to get the water to expand the wood until it creates a watertight seal. In this case, however, after I cured it, I also seasoned the barrel with some blended scotch. I used a bottle of youngish, inexpensive scotch, filled up the barrel and let it sit for 3 weeks. At the end of the 3 weeks, I got a smoother bottle of scotch and added a little extra flavor to the barrel. Once you're ready to add booze to the barrel, measure 400 milliliters, or about 13.5 ounces of rye. Pour that in your pitcher. Measure 400 milliliters, or about 13.5 ounces of mezcal. Pour that in your pitcher. Measure 200 milliliters, or about 6 3/4 ounces of Benedictine. Add that to your pitcher. Measure 10 milliliters, or 1/3 of an ounce of Chicory Vanilla bitters, or optionally Peychaud bitters. Add that to your pitcher. Give that a quick stir, then give it a small taste. Make sure you're putting a cocktail you want to drink into the barrel. Pop in your funnel and pour it in your barrel. Pull out the funnel, plug in the bung, and wait. In the case of a 1 liter barrel, 3 to 4 weeks is the sweet spot. You don't want to leave it in too long unless you really like the taste of oak in your cocktail. It's always a good idea to taste a little along the way. That way you can see how it's progressing. It may take a little more or a little less time depending on the barrel and how many times you've used it. With this one, 30 days is a good benchmark, but let your taste buds be the judge. When it gets to the right place, unplug the bung, turn the spigot, and drain the barrel. It's normal to lose a little in the process. Stick in a funnel and pour it in your bottle using a fine mesh strainer. That'll help pick up any bits of charred oak that might have come through. Then slap on a homemade label and you're good to go. When you're ready to drink it, chill a rocks glass, measure out a couple of ounces, pour it over ice in a mixing glass, and stir it to chill it down and give it some dilution. Empty the ice and water from your rocks glass, drop in a large hunk of ice, and strain it over the ice in your chilled rocks glass. I like it best without a garnish, but if you want, you can hit it with an orange twist. And there you have it, the barrel-aged Southland. Enjoy. Click here for more videos. Be sure to subscribe, and check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For links, more info, and the printed recipe, check out the description below.